G'day guys, Matt here from Not in the Manual. Today I'm going to do a video on the Tesla Autopilot system. It's something I've gotten used to now over the 6 months I've had the car, or just over 6 months, and I think it warrants a video. It's something that some people might be scared to use, or I'll run you through the setup I have, hopefully give you a bit more confidence to use it. And if you're looking to buy this car and you don't have one yet, it'll show you what the system is capable of. Now, I'm going to do this video in two parts. The first part is going to run through the settings on the screen. The second part is going to be a drive, and I'll show you both the freeway drive and then a main road, a multi-lane main road, which is really the only places you should use it is where there's clear lane markings. And use it with caution. I think really for the first couple of times you try and use it, just do it on a freeway in a quiet time with very clear lane markings, you know, good speed, no stop starts, just until you get used to the system. And I'll show you how I've set it up. It may not be right for you, but look, this is just how I like to have it set up. And just see how you go. I come from the car before this was a Volkswagen Tiguan. It had auto steer, but it just wasn't as good as this Tesla system. So I don't think it was anywhere near as safe as this system. I think really with the Tesla system, it's something that it's got an unfortunate name, Autopilot. So it's not really something that can take over and you just pay no attention. So it's really a driver assistance system. So it's there really just to act as your wingman and really, you know, be there as an additional thing to your driving and your attention. So it's just something you need to be careful of where you use it, how you use it. Make sure you keep one hand on the wheel at all times, and that you're paying attention and ready to take over at any stage. So it's far from a perfect system, and just think of it as your wingman, as I said. So I wanted to, you'll notice with this video, the settings part and this little intro I'm doing now, you will see that it's got the new system, version 11 software. But when I do the drive part, you'll notice it's the old version software. So I had a bit of an unlucky month in December. It's February now. I had a crash in my car, and it was in with the smash repairers just as I was filming this video. It wasn't something that the car safety systems could have helped me with. You know, I was changing lanes and collided with another car, so I'm not going to blame the car or anything like that. It's just one of those unfortunate things that can happen, and unlucky with that. And you know, the car went to the smash repairers and sat there for a while, got assessed. Parts got ordered. I worked out there was going to be a big delay on parts due to the sort of the strain on the global shipping system and supply chains. And yeah, I decided to go and pick the car up. It was safe and drivable. I'll show you the damage actually, so you can see it's not too bad. The car handled it pretty well. So I'm just driving for the moment until the parts come in, taking the opportunity to get some of these videos finished. You'll see I've got a couple of other videos. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. I'll take you out and show you some damage, and then we'll get into the settings. Okay, before we go out and look at the damage, have a look here. I'm using this app called Scan My Tesla. You can see it gives you a lot of details on the car. I've got a separate video that shows you how to get all that working and set it up, and tap into the, you know, give yourself an onboard diagnostic plug to plug an adapter into that communicates with the phone, and give you all sorts of useful information. So make sure you watch that video. You'll be able to see what this app is capable of and what sort of information you get. And yeah, just have a watch of that video. I'm just here at Silverwater by Parramatta River. Not really a river that you'd want to swim in. You'd probably dissolve if you swam in it. Here's the damage on the car. So you can see it did a good job of it. Ripped holes open in the doors. Scraped the front wheel. So it's going to need the whole, 2 new doors, and this rear panel here is going to get replaced as well. Impacted the rear wheel. They'll actually fix that, and it'll look pretty good. Anyway, into the settings part of the video. Now, if you're not familiar with the car, you press the little picture of the car down in the bottom right hand side, takes you to all the main settings. So the one we're looking for is Autopilot. So here in the Autopilot settings, you've got settings for Autopilot, cruise control, and then a lot of your emergency systems there. Braking and steering and obstacle aware acceleration. So we'll run through all those as well. The first setting in this part is auto steer. So auto steer, this whole Autopilot system, it's really just there to complement your driving. It's not there to take over from you. It's there. It's like your wingman. It's an extra set of eyes on the road, in addition to your attention to the road. So I think you're still responsible for what the car does. These are just assistance systems. So the main issue with the Tesla systems is that they are so good, and I think people expect a lot more of them. And I think it starts with the unfortunate name of Autopilot. So it isn't an autopilot system where you can just, it's not full self-driving. We're far from that yet. This is just something to make the drive a little bit easier, to act like your wingman there, and just be there as an additional layer of safety to reduce the risk while you're driving. So, with this system active, it's both hands on the wheel, still in control, paying attention to the road. It just helps. It helps on longer journeys, or, sitting in traffic on roads. It helps just get rid of some of that stress and fatigue. That it's doing some of that work for you, but you still need to maintain control. And you can't blame the car for not turning. If you're using it on a road with parked cars down the side without very clear lane markings in place, and it hits a parked car, you just can't blame the car. You shouldn't be using it on a road like that. You should be using it where there's only clear lanes marked. If you're using it on roads like that, do so at your own risk. Single lane roads where cars can be parked, there can be some obstacles within that lane, just at the edge of the vehicle. Well, it's not designed to work in that scenario, and it's pretty clear in the manual that you're still in full control of the car. These are just driver assistance packages. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I've had cars with this system for years. As I said, I had the Volkswagen Tiguan. It had the same systems as this car does, but the Tesla just does it a much better job. And it has a few extra emergency scenario features. So this system didn't work for me with the blind spot and collision avoidance. I still had a car sideswipe me. So it's still possible. It's not something that is going to stop these accidents from happening. I don't remember all the details of my accident. I may not have indicated. I don't remember. It all happened so fast. I don't remember a warning chime coming on. It's just one of those things. Accidents can still happen, but these systems minimize that risk. They don't eliminate it 100%. And I think you need to understand that. You need to be careful using these systems and become very familiar with them before you start using them regularly. So auto steer in this car is fantastic. It needs clear lane markings as well. You know, it helps if there's a car in front of you, because it is also tracking the car in front of you as well to create a path for the car to follow. This is by far 100 times better than the system I had in the Volkswagen Tiguan. It would lose the lane pretty quickly, and you really, with very little warning, you had to take over a lot of the time, whereas the Tesla will say, look, you know, take over. It'll give you a lot of, you know, it'll give you some time, and it will still keep control as much as possible. A lot of other systems just give up and switch off, and the car can sort of erratically, you know, just lose that auto steer during a turn, and it can be quite scary. Tesla's is a bit smoother than that, so you know, it's quite good. So you can turn that system off. If you're not familiar with auto steer systems and you're new to this car and you're never going to use it, you've got the option of turning it off so you don't activate it accidentally. This system will try and keep you in the center of a lane. If you activate it when you're slightly off the center but still within the lane, it's going to jerk that steering wheel across to get the car back into the center of that lane quite quickly, and that can be a bit scary at first if you're not ready for it, or if you accidentally turn it on. So I think it's a good idea to have that off until you're familiar with the system. The next setting is a full self-driving visualization preview. Now this is giving you a preview of what the car sees, and potentially of the images it's using when it's when full self-driving is activated and used one day. So, you know, we're lucky enough without the full self-driving package to have this feature. Yeah, it's probably a bit of marketing for that system as well, but I think it's a fun little thing to have. You know, the kids in the car can point out, oh, you know, it can see the bins, it can see people, bikes. It really gives you an idea of, you know, how good this system is, plus also its limitations. So it's not 100%, but you know, sometimes you're sitting there and I'm pretty surprised with how far forward and back this car can see. It's pretty cool. So that's something there that I leave on. Some people might find it distracting having all that stuff moving on the screen, so you've got the option of turning it off. Set speed is the next one. So this is when you activate the cruise control, whether it's autopilot or just traffic aware cruise control, you've got the option of what speed it does when that system is activated. I leave it on current speed, which is the same as traditional cruise controls. When I activate the system, it will do the speed the car is doing at that moment. So I normally just sort of accelerate up to the cruise speed I want to be doing, turn the system on, and then fine tune it with that right control wheel on the steering wheel. And I'll go through that a bit more in the practical side of things. So yeah, you know, it will just set it to the current speed. It disregards whatever speed sign the car has read. On the other hand, speed limit will, when you activate the cruise control, it will do whatever speed limit is shown up here in the top corner. The car will do that speed limit, whether you're close to that speed limit or not. So if you're doing 50 kilometers an hour in an 80 kilometer an hour zone and you activate the cruise control, the car, it's hit and miss. It can be quite harsh. It can accelerate quite quickly or decelerate if you activate in a lower speed area. It will always try and do that posted speed that's illustrated up in the corner there, which I don't like using it. Sometimes that system can misread speed signs. I've been driving along and I've seen that saying 30 kilometers an hour when I'm in a 60 kilometer an hour zone, and I think sometimes it just misreads the signs. Or it will read, accidentally read a recommended speed for a corner or something like that. So for me, I don't like using that. I think possibly on an open road, it's going to be a bit better where the signs are a bit clearer, the lane markings are better. You know, I think possibly better there. So in the speed limit mode, you then get the option of offsetting that. So if it's set to, if you're in a 60 kilometer an hour zone and it says 60 here, you activate the system. If this is set to 0, it will just do the 60 kilometers an hour. You can offset that plus or minus 10 kilometers an hour. And you know, if you prefer to just break the speed limit regularly, you've got the option of doing that. set it to 7 k's an hour over the speed limit all the time. But, you know, I don't use that system, but if I did, I'd leave it on fixed. You might just, you know, just to be sure, have it a couple of kilometers an hour under the speed limit if you don't want to get caught speeding. The other option you have is to do the same thing there, but have it as a percentage. Now, this gives you the option of having a bigger offset. Because it's a percentage, I can go, can't remember what it goes up to, 30%. So if I'm doing 100 kilometers an hour, or if the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour and I activate, it's going to do 130. So I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you get the option. You know, maybe if you're somewhere where speed limits just aren't enforced or something, who knows? You get the option of changing that. The next thing is the automatic blind spot camera. This is a great little feature. I'll put the car in gear and show you that. So with the car in drive, whenever you indicate, your side repeater camera comes on and shows you a picture. If you don't like it, swat it out of the way. Me, I like to leave it on, even though it is very annoying in that spot. I think it should be more up here. At some point, Tesla may allow you to customize where that image comes up. But at the moment, you can see it just covered that fasten seatbelt warning. It also covers any navigation directions you have. The navigation directions used to show up here, but they show up here now. They get covered by that blind spot warning. So just remember, you can just swat it out of the way or turn it off altogether. The other issue with it being down here is you're looking further away from the road to look at it. So I find it's good to have there, I think. You know, I'd rather have it on than not, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt down here at this point. It's not a very good place to have it. So, you know, if you've got text messages coming up, if you've got navigation directions, warning, things like this, it's going to cover that up. But just remember, I'll put it on again, you can just swat it out of the way. I think it's quite a useful thing. I think when the Hyundai Ioniq 5 came out with that feature that comes up on the dash while you're indicating, I thought, yeah, that'd be a great thing to have on with the Tesla, but they've just put it in an unfortunate location, so hopefully they'll improve that. Put it back in park. Then we have the next setting is a blind spot collision warning chime. That one there, for me, I think it's one of those things that I've never noticed it. I didn't notice it when I had my accident, when I had someone sideswipe me. It may have gone off, but I think it's so similar to some of the other warnings that go off in this car. Sometimes you can just get used to them and tend to ignore them. So yeah, I think it's something to be careful of, and it's not, you know, it's not one of these big loud things that really grabs your attention, but that could change at some point. So if you go to change lanes, you're indicating and it finds a car sitting in your blind spot, it will give you an audible warning. Speed limit warning. So when you see the posted speed that the car has seen come up here, if you exceed that speed limit, I've got it set so that it just highlights that. It sort of flashes at you and enlarges the speed limit sign and just gives you a bit of a visual warning. I prefer just to keep that. As I said, it can misread some speed signs, especially with the school zones outside of school zone times. So yeah, it gets a bit annoying chiming at you all the time, so I turn it off. You got the option, whether it's display or chime, to have it relative. So you can set it to only give you whatever warning you've got set here when you're exceeding the speed limit by 3 kilometers an hour. You can do plus or minus 10 with that. Depends where you want to be warned. The absolute setting is more like your traditional sort of speed limits with speed limit warnings that you used to have on cars for years that have had. It's just an absolute thing. Set that to where you want, it'll give you a displayed warning or a chime warning at that point. So just like other cars where you could set that, they brought that little feature into cars years ago. So that's more like your traditional speed limit warnings. The next setting is forward collision warning. So this is the warning it gives you before it applies your automatic emergency braking. And this decides when it gives you that warning. So it's really the sensitivity and the distance that it's going to start giving you the warning. So it'll start giving you a warning saying brake, apply brakes, you're about to hit a car. And then if you don't respond, it will bring in the automatic emergency braking. So you've got early, medium, late. If you're someone that tends to get distracted quite easily while you're driving, put it on early. If you're someone that pays attention a lot, doesn't drive like a maniac or whatever, keep it on late, you'll be fine. That's better. Lane departure avoidance. This one here decides what the car does. If it senses you departing a lane without indicating, it can either give you you can turn it off altogether. You can have it so that it just gives you a warning. It'll give you an audible and visual warning. I like to have it actively assist you. It just gives you a little bit of a nudge on the steering wheel. It's not too overpowering. You can overpower that quite easily, so it's not going to stop it from happening. It's just going to give you a little bit of an assistance there, and you see the lane markings start flashing. So that's something there. The lane markings have to be pretty clear for that system to work. In addition to that, the next setting below that, emergency lane departure avoidance. This one is where the car will actively try and avoid obstacles when you stray from your lane. So the car will actively try and avoid other cars. It'll sense if you're straying off the road altogether, and it will provide some emergency assistance to keep the car on the road or avoid an obstacle. So that's quite a good one to leave on. Automatic emergency braking, pretty straightforward, that setting. I don't know why you would want to turn that off. I mean, that's if people run out in front of your car, dogs, bikes, boxes, motorbikes, everything. So anything that moves in front of the car that you're going to collide with, the car will apply the brakes if you don't react within a certain amount of time. Obstacle aware acceleration. This is quite a good feature. So those things where you've seen old people accidentally put the car in drive, not always old people. With this car, with the gear selection stalk, sometimes I've done it occasionally where I think I'm in reverse, or I think I've put it back into forward and I'm still in reverse, and you put your foot on the accelerator and you get a shock. Whoops, I'm not going in the direction I planned. If there was an obstacle in the way, well, this would stop doing that. I think it only works in forward though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is only in forward. They haven't brought in the reverse one with this yet. So this only works in forward. So if you thought you were going to go in reverse and you haven't put it in reverse properly, pretty obvious when the reverse cameras come on, but I've done it too. I haven't quite pushed the stalk hard enough. Or you're in a rush. Well, if there was something in front of you when you went to accelerate, this would stop that. This would limit the acceleration of the vehicle to avoid the collision. This is also handy if you're not paying attention and all of a sudden the cars beside you start moving, but the car in front doesn't, and you go to accelerate and the car in front of you hasn't gone. They haven't seen the light go green. This would stop you running up the back of that car. It would limit your acceleration to stop that collision happening. It's quite a handy feature to leave on. Traffic aware cruise control chime. I think this was a new thing that you could turn on and off. I don't remember there being a chime when I first got the car when you put that traffic aware cruise control on. So that's the first press of the stalk. Pushing the gear stalk down once enables traffic aware cruise control. There never used to be a chime, and then I was thinking, gee, that could be dangerous, especially if you're not used to driving a car with the indicator on the left. You could go as if you're indicating to the right and you put the traffic aware cruise control on and you're unaware that it's come on. Well, there is a chime there now, and it's a definite chime, which would make you more aware that something's happened. You might look down at the screen and realize, well, I've put it into turn the cruise control on. So it just makes it a bit more aware of when that's turning on and off. So that's it for the settings. Now to the drive part.